Hi everybody, it's Christian, that guy from Esoteric Music Machines. Shh, I'm going to share with you some really powerful secret information today. I'm going to tell you about what is probably the most powerful free musical software package that's available anywhere right now. I'm going to show you where to get it. I'm going to show you how to install it. I'm going to walk you through a few of the tutorials because there's an amazing amount of tutorials and manuals and learning tools. It's almost overwhelming how much learning stuff there is. And I'm going to show you my own personal, private, secret, favorite workflow, some of my favorite features of this software, and I'm going to show you how to save files, save patches, and avoid some traps and pitfalls. So buckle up, jump in, ride along with me, and we're going to look at Composer's Desktop Project. It can be a little bit daunting because there's so many features. I really want to thank Trevor Wishart and everybody else who worked on developing this wonderful software and decided to give it away for free. I really want to thank Archer Endrich and everybody who worked on the tremendously helpful documentation that's available to help us all understand this. It can do all kinds of sonic manipulation, granular synthesis with tremendous amount of parameters, way beyond just about anything else that exists. The tremendously rich texture functions can, in very elaborate ways, rearrange your sonic material. And then it can also do spectral analysis and then reshape the spectrum and morph sounds. You can do spectral analysis of two or more different sounds and then impose one spectral envelope on the sound of another. You can morph sounds between each other. You can do all kinds of tremendously powerful transformations of sound. That's what this software package is all about. Where do you get it? You go here. I will put the link in the notes to this video, unstablesound.net. And then when you find this download page, download every single thing that applies to you. If you're a PC, you want everything that says PC and also everything that doesn't say either PC or Mac. And if you obviously you have a Mac, I don't know, you do what Mac people do. I don't know what that is. I have an old Windows 10 machine and this software runs just fine on it. You're gonna download all these things and then I trust you to follow the installation notes. I'm not gonna walk you through the installation process, but I will explain it to you. I've already got this installed. I just want to show you how easy it is and show you, more importantly, which file you're going to be relying on, which is either this or this. Actually, installation notes, that's what it is. So the important thing, I trust you. You know how to read installation notes and just go through them step by step. You are going to go in specific order. You're going to download and install SoundLoom first. Then you're going to install these other things. Then you're going to install SoundShaper. Then you're going to update SoundShaper. And so to just show you how that's going to look when you're finished, it's going to be at the very top level of your C drive, which is not the place your software usually wants to be. It's going to be here, CDP Release 7. And then in there, I've got my different workshops. You want to find those and download those also. It's tremendously helpful. I'll give you a little tour. And then a learning manual for CDP, which is just an amazing resource. It starts out conceptually with an overview of the different aspects of sound, the different aspects of music, and then how we can do these different things in, this is mingling sounds is a very understated way of talking about spectral envelopes and analysis and how we can create sonic morphing. Are you getting excited? I'm getting excited. And then let's look at the CDP workshops, which is here. So these workshops include a lot of tremendous, like for instance, workshop 1, that sounds, you know, not very interesting. It's 9 different worksheets. Each of these worksheets focuses on a specific aspect of CDP and walks you through some of the modules and walks you through some of the typical parameters so you can really get a sense of what's possible, and that's tremendously helpful. And it also gives you all of the sound files you're going to need to do that worksheet, and we'll take a look at the actual worksheet. This is you can have it in PDF format and also Word format, which I like because then I make my little notes on it, like nice. Now filtering, you might think, well, that's not terribly interesting, and of course there is variable state filters. There's also filter banks, and I'm just going to give you your first glimpse of how powerful CDP is. We're going to do a couple of these examples from the tutorials, and I'll also show you the workflow in SoundShaper. So the first thing that we're going to do, I want to explain the structure of this interface to you. This is SoundShaper. There's also another interface called SoundLoom. I don't recommend you focus on that. I recommend you focus on SoundShaper. It's just much more straightforward. First of all, every time you point at something, it's going to give you a help moment at the bottom of the screen, so keep your eye on that. So it looks like a spreadsheet, and what this really is you're going to put your starting sound here, and then you're going to place a series of audio processing units in these subsequent cells, and each cell is going to take whatever information was produced by the cell before it and transform it and hand it off to the next one. So you put your starting sound in here. It's very important that you always know where you are in this spreadsheet and make sure that the system knows where you are. And it indicates this. This is how it indicates the column that you're in, and this is how it indicates the row that you're in. You put your starting sound here, and so this filter bank example, which is what we're going to be doing together right now, is we're going to use the module Sound Files Filter Bank, and we're going to start with this audio file that was provided for us in the worksheet number 2 folder. So we're going to load that either by just dragging and dropping it. Yeah, here we go. That's it. And I'm just going to drag and drop it into this little cell right here, which is where your starting sound goes. All right, you can start and stop that. This is the sound file we just loaded. It's a sound file of a farm tractor. It's 15 seconds long. You can start and stop it here. You can also use your space bar. You can turn loop on and off. So we've got that sound loaded now. Now we're going to load this module. In SoundShaper, you would do these things. If you were using SoundLoom, you can also use these tutorials with SoundLoom to explore that. You would use this. So Sound Files Filter Bank. Let's find that here. First of all, let's make sure we're in the right cell. Now we are. Sound File Filter. These are all the different filter modules that are offered to you, and they're very powerful bank. Now, every time you load a module in SoundShaper, it's going to give you the different modes that are available to you and the different parameters that are available. And every time I point at something, it's going to show me at the bottom of this window some information about that parameter. I can also see what the parameter ranges are. I can move my slider. I can also type things in here. What I'm going to do, because there's obviously a tremendous number of parameters and a lot of possibilities here, the whole point of the tutorial is to walk you through different examples. So we're going to follow that. We're going to use mode 1. We're going to filter the harmonic series. Okay, right there. Are you excited? When was the last time that a piece of hardware or software said to you, oh, would you like to do a filter bank that's based on the harmonic series? So we're going to take Q at 150, gain at 5, and turn double filtering on. I would have never known that you should always turn double filtering on to get a great effect, except for this tutorial. Q, 150, gain 5. I'm just typing it in. Now we're going to press run. And we're on mode 1, which is harmonics, filter bank 1. Mode 1, you could also set it for alternate harmonics. We'll explore some of these other things also, but we're just going to stick with the harmonics right now. I'm going to press OK, and it's going to run this process. Now, the main thing I need you to understand, and at first you're not going to like it, but I'm going to convince you that it's a great feature, is that all of the processing that Composer's Desktop Project does is offline, not in real time. That means that a simple process is extremely quick. This process will probably take a half a second. And a long process, or if you're time stretching a file that started out 15 seconds and you want to stretch it 100 times, that's going to take a while. But the upside is it can run on any computer. I'm going to say that again. It can run on any computer. You don't have to have a fancy computer. You don't have to have a dedicated audio computer, audio processing box. And I'm just going to show you, most of these things are going to happen extremely quickly. We're going to press OK. Wow. So again, it took half a second and it instantly started playing. Let's remember what our original sound was. Let's hear the filtered sound. That's the harmonic series. Now let's try a couple of different options. We're going to skip over a couple of these and look at filtering with equal intervals because I said whoa. So we're going to specify a number of filters to create our filter bank. Well, let's start with, I don't know, 1,000 filters. That sounds good to me. We're gonna, now since I changed the mode, we have a different set of parameters. The Q that's recommended for this exercise is also 150 and the gain is 5. So 150 and 5. And we want, the default number of filters is 100, you know, 100. Let's max it out and go to 1,000. I could also have a decay tail. I'm not going to use that. I could also have some scatter. I'm not going to use that. So we're going to press OK. What do you think this is going to sound like? Just stretch your mind and try to imagine what 1,000 bandpass filters spread out between 100 Hertz and 10,000 Hertz is going to sound like. Let's listen. Processing is already finished. That was really cool. Now, if you're like me, you want to start experimenting. What if we had 100 filters? 100 filters. Let's just try it. Processing is finished. Now, would you have anticipated that? Why did that happen? It was a very rich but noisy sound when we had 1,000 filters. It's much more somewhat tonal, kind of like a crazy, demented pipe organ right now. Wow, what if we reduce the number of filters a little bit more, say down to 50? What do you think it's going to sound like? Processing finished. That was like church bells that just hum instead of going gong, gong, gong. What if we cut it down to 10? See, you just double click. It's got all of the parameters you ran last time, and it's playtime. Okay, that's an amazing sound, like a Tibetan ringing singing bowl. What happened there? Because we went from 1,000 filters down to 10, we lost a lot of our sound energy. So I'm just going to show you. We're going to click the next box, and I'm going to crank the level back up. I'm going to normalize that to 0 dB. If you don't know what normalizing is, it means that the software just looked at the entire sound file, found the loudest moment in that sound file, and then turned the sound file up so that that moment would be at 0 dB and everything else in the file would be less. So this is the loudest we can get this sound. We want that because we can have, you know, the richest amount of detail and intensity without clipping. right, that was an amazing sound. Let's just go back. Every time you click on any of these, you can hear the sound that's in that cell. This is the original sound. This is the filter bank sound with 10 filters. And this is the level boosted sound. Okay, that was exciting. I would like to show you a couple of my favorite features: time stretching and partial accumulation, and also how we can automate variables over time. The first thing that we want to do, though, is if we like this sound, we want to save it. Click Save. I'll say, and now they really recommend that you do this: filter bank, intervals, 10 filters, because otherwise you'll just compile this huge number of... okay, so I also wanted to show you that we can do a filter bank that's based on semitone intervals, which is going to create harmonizations. We just click again the filter bank, change the mode to equal intervals 2, which down at the bottom of the screen we see is bands defined by interval size, and so our parameter here changed to interval. We're going to change that to from octaves to fifths, which is 7 semitones. So what that means is that from our lowest defined frequency, 100 hertz, to our highest defined frequency, 10,000 hertz, they're going to fill that entire space with as many bandpass filters as it takes to capture every fifth above 100, and then above that, and then above that, and then above that. I actually think that we have to change the Q to, I'm just following the tutorial recommendations, 25 and 5, and then starting at 50. Okay, so we're going to change the low frequency to 50. I'm going to change the gain to the Q to 25 and leave the gain at 5. We're going to run it. So that's, I don't even know how many filters. That's however many filters it takes. It's probably going to take 1 second. There we go. But that's different, right? And then we're going to change this to a third. See how that sounds. It's done. Crazy. Okay, you can see that this is quite a box of toys. And now I'm going to go on and show you some of my favorite features. The filter bank stuff was just to show you the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg on how much power is in something like a simple filter bank. You can also do a filter bank that's defined on your own set of frequencies, your microscale, or whatever you would like. First, I'm going to clear out this whole patch. The entire spreadsheet is called a patch. We're going to start all over. I'm going to load a sound, very short little burst of modular bleeping, and then we'll time stretch it. Here we go. This is the one I want. Come here. Come here. Okay. I'm going to put it in this little cell here. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to do is time stretch it. Before I time stretch it, if I take an 11-second sound and stretch it out 10 times, that's going to be long and it's going to take a lot of processing time. So just to give you an idea, I'm going to just take an excerpt from that, and also just partly showing you how simple it is to do these basic processes. Again, I move into the first cell here and I make sure that I'm there. Edit. I want to take from about the second number 3 to second number 6. So we'll start at number 3. And instead of ending at 11, we're going to end at 6. We'll just take 3 seconds. Okay, what we're going to do is time stretch that 10 times. Spectral, time stretch. There's a lot of spectral features here. It's tremendously powerful. There's a lot of tutorials about it. You got to go through the tutorials just to understand what they are, but you are going to find your own gems within CDP, and one of my favorites is time stretching. I'm giving away all my secrets here. So there's only one parameter here. It's time stretch. You can make it shorter by going into fractions. This would be a fifth as long as it is already. You can time stretch up to 1,000 times. 1,000 times. Can you think of any hardware or software that can do this other than Kima? I can't. If you can, let me know. I'm going to do 10 times. Try to imagine what this sound is going to sound like if we stretch it 10 times longer than it currently is. That's kind of frightening, but in a really exciting way. So what I'd like to do is take this 3-second batch from second number 9 to second number 12 and stretch it again 10 times over. So we'll be at 100. So I move here. You see I'm compiling a whole series of interventions that we've done. Again, edit, cut, start at 3. No, sorry, start at 9. End at 12 seconds. Because again, if we stretch a 30-second file out 100 times, it's going to take a while. So try to imagine again what this is going to sound like if I stretch that out 10 times. 10. Go. That's crazy. Who knew that all of that was in this original sound? I didn't. So let's go. I'm going to show you another of my favorite tricks, which is accumulate. Reshape is a really powerful set of spectral analysis features. You can arpeggiate the partials. You can average the spectral amplitude across adjacent bands. You can cause a glistening effect. You can add noise. You can spread the spectral peaks out, which is sort of like frequency shifting, but like taken to the next level. You can spread them and you can also squish them. You can also invert them. What I'm going to focus on is accumulate. And what this is going to do, as far as I understand it, is sustain each spectral band until louder data appears in that band. If you want more information, I'm just going to close this process and turn on Quick Help. Quick Help. That means that every time you click on a process, it's going to give you a whole essay about that process. Accumulate. Whoa! So this is what accumulate is really all about. Mode 1 has no tuning. Mode 2, the starting resonances are focused onto the tempered chromatic scale. Whoa! You can also define a harmonic set or field of frequencies that you want to constrain the resonances to. Oh my God. Some of you are clapping your hands and getting very excited. So when you have Quick Help turned on, I clicked close on that window and it says, do you want to continue with that process? Now I've got the process window. For sustain, I don't want to constrain the frequencies to any particular scale. I just want to let them flourish as they are. And this decay factor, look at the bottom of the window as I point to it. Sustain channel data decays by this factor each second. So actually that's a little more complicated than I thought it was. It's not just the length of decay in seconds, but anyway, I'm going to turn that down because we're going to play with this later, but I'm going to turn it down to 0.15 so that the decay is fairly fast. It's just going to take each partial and stretch it out in time a little bit so it's just a little bit more available to our perception. Let's go. It's running the process, and it's done. Can you feel the power of Composer's desktop project? I hope that you can. Now, we're going to rerun this process. I double click on something to change the parameters. It gives me all the parameters I set before. I am going to initiate you into the power of time variance. Any parameter in CDP that has this TV button means that you can substitute for a single fixed value a changing set of values over time. You can look at that in numbers. This column is the time value in seconds, and this column is the numerical value of that parameter, which here is decay. I would really like to see that as a graph. Click Edit, click Open. There you go. That is a graph. It's not quite what I want. I would like to start at 0.15, which is what we had before. And what have I got right now? I'm not sure. 0.7, that was fine. Okay, so I'm going to run with that. So it's going to go up and then it's going to go back down. Now, when I clicked open, these numbers automatically scaled themselves to the length of my time file, of my current file that I'm working with, which is a little over 30 seconds. I just want to point out that if you want to create values on a 10-second scale because it's easier to think about what values you want, and then you just click the scale button, it will automatically rescale your numbers to fit the sound file that you're working with. Cancel, cancel, and you have to say store changes. Okay, so again, what this is going to do is just with the decay value, it's going to start at that low value that we specified, and then over the course of the sound file, it's going to increase, the decay is going to increase a lot, so you'll hear a lot more smearing. And then actually, let's take it back down to close to where we started. So we're going to go on a journey here. We're going to see what just one of these parameters changing over time can do. Okay, store changes, let's go. It's running. It's done. Let's hear it. Amazing. Okay, we like that sound and we want to save it. So this is very important. I want you to listen to me closely. This is how you save a sound. I am telling it that I want to save it as a WAV file. The issue is what we just heard is actually not a WAV file, it's a spectral analysis file. How do I know that? Because it's blue. Any process that is white in this grid produces a sound file, WAV file. Any process that is blue has automatically done a spectral analysis and has produced another spectral analysis file. For example, this time stretch function that we did to make it 10 times as long, it started that by taking this sound file, edited to the 3-second stretch that we did, and did a spectral analysis and then transformed that spectral analysis to produce a file that was 10 times as long. But it's not a WAV file. The reason that we're allowed to hear it, oh my goodness, is that CDP is smart enough. In many ways, it works behind the scenes to anticipate you, to produce the kind of sound file that you need, to do the grunt work so that you don't have to think about it. But there are a couple times that you have to think about it. One is when you're stepping into the spectral realm, and the other is when you're stepping out of the spectral realm, which is what we are doing when we try to take the result of a spectral analysis process and save it as a sound file. It's not going to work, and I'm going to show you what you have to do. So this is very important in terms of if you're falling in love with CDP and then suddenly you run into this problem, you're going to be bummed out. And I'm trying to help you avoid that. So again, I'm just reminding you, you can click on any cell and hear what was the result of that process. Here's the file that we started with. Almost unrecognizable from what we ended up with. And again, because we've stretched this out 100 times now, we did 10 times here and 10 times here, and we could go farther and just see what's hidden inside that little moment in time. This is 37 seconds. That means that that was about 1/3 of a second that we're hearing, stretched out over 37 seconds. And then, of course, we accumulated the partials. So the point is, watch. If I try to save this file, and I'm trying to save it as a WAV file, and I try to call it, okay, OSM2 was the name of the original file. It is strongly recommended that you call it something that sums up everything you did. I already did this process when I was practicing to make this lesson for you. So I stretched it 10 times, then I cut it, then I stretched it 10 times, and then I did an accumulate process. Save it as a WAV file. Save. Okay, I get an error message. Saving to a different file type is not possible. Now, it's a very helpful error message. It tells you what to do. Please convert the file to the type you wish to save to, e.g. convert an analysis file, ANA, to a sound file, .wav, if saving to a sound file. So it tells you what you need to do, but it doesn't tell you how to do it. I'm going to tell you how to do it. But first, I just want to say, you probably know this, a WAV file is merely a record of the frequency and amplitude of sound at 44,000 different points in a second. So for every little tiny slice of time, I mean, of course, it could be a different number than 44,000, but for every little slice of time, all you have is two pieces of information, the frequency and the amplitude. And a spectral analysis file has way more information. It breaks the sound file down into partials and analyzes the frequency and the amplitude of each of those partials at every moment in time. So it's a lot more information. The reason that CDP lets you play a sound file and an analysis file like this or this and hear it is that it's doing a lot of transformation behind the scenes to let you hear what you've done so far. But it's not a WAV file. We're going to make it a WAV file. It's not obvious how to do that, which is why I'm telling you. Once again, I move to the next cell in the row, and by doing that, I'm going to process this information here. And under spectral, this is the most important thing, PVC fast Fourier transform convert. I promised myself I was going to look up PVOC before this, and I forgot to, but it is a central process in the kind of transformations that we want to do in Composer's Desktop Project. It lets us move back and forth from merely sonic data to spectral analysis data, and then we have to go back again. It's a little bit like audio to digital conversion and digital to audio conversion. You have to convert the digital stuff that you worked on back into audio before you can hear it. you have to do this conversion before you can record something and save something as a WAV file. So here's the two different processes. Analyze means take a sound and turn it into a spectral analysis file, and then synthesize, or rather resynthesize, is the opposite process. Taking our current accumulate spectral analysis data and turning it back into a synthesized WAV file. So we're going to do that. Just click that. The reason this came up is that we have Quick Help still turned on. Continue with process, yes. Boom. It sounds the same because it is the same, it's just now it's a WAV file and we'll be able to save it. We can also normalize it again because we lost a little bit of energy here, and if we're going to be moving something into our DAW, I always like to normalize it first. So level, normalize, boom. We're just going to listen to it again because it's so beautiful. Wow. I get very excited about this because to me that sound has a voluptuous quality that I don't know how I would get any other way. You can see I've got a lot of things. I've got Emulator X, I've got Omnisphere, I've got Density and Pulsarette, I've got Glitch Lab, and I've got Reactor, and none of them can get to this place and take a quick, glitchy, dense little sound and just open it up and open it up and open it up. And I've only scratched the surface. There's so much more. And so this is I'm reminding you, this is the result of a time variant accumulation process where the delays got longer and longer, and then they got shorter and shorter again here. And you can do that with many of the parameters in CDP. A couple more things, very powerful things I want to show you. But so now we've got this to a savable file. Yes, we did save the sound file, and it tells us that. Let's just do that again and show. No, I didn't. Anyway, I'm going to say OSM. I can't remember if I saved this, but you should always save it. Yes, that's what I did, and I'm just going to call it B in case it's different. Always save, always save. There, and it tells us I saved your file. All of the products that it used are saved in a temp file. I'm just going to show you where that is. It's in CDPR7 on your C drive temp. These are all of the files that we created during this session, and some of them are quite large. These are the analysis files, these are the WAV files. You can see it did a lot of work behind the scenes to support us. I believe it will empty this automatically when you close the session. If it doesn't, just go back in there and check and delete all the files that you don't need, because otherwise your hard drive will start filling up. Okay, now all of that was very nice. One of the most, so we're going to save this patch. This is called a patch, and it could be lots of rows, and we're going to save it. Save all files, save the whole patch, save, so that we can go back to this later. And you want to give it a descriptive name like cut stretch 10, cut stretch 10, cum and PVOC. Fine. Okay. Now, and then you can give yourself a little reminder. That's what it does. It cuts the sound, stretches it 100 times, accumulates the partials, and makes a WAV file. Lovely. So, the single most powerful thing about CDP is you can set up this whole chain of processes, and then you can change the initial sound and rerun it. So we're going to do that. We're going to find another sound. Let's see. Yeah, how about this one? I called it Quibble because it's just kind of like a wobbly little R2-D2 kind of noise. So, we are going to, with the click of one button, rerun all those processes on this new sound. Single row, run. And we're going to just see what happens. It does take a moment. It tells you up at the top that it's processing, and it's already finished. It's already finished. That was a massive amount of sonic transformation that happened in like 3 seconds. So we started, I'm just going to step you through it. We cut it to 3 seconds. Time stretched it tenfold. Okay, we cut it again. Time stretched it again. Okay. I don't know why it's running in this window, but it's doing the same thing without showing us the waveform. It's just running the file. Okay, that's spooky. That's spooky. So, there we go. And let's hear what happened with the accumulate process. So again, I think that's absolutely gorgeous. I'm sorry, that got a little loud. You could do this all day. You could just throw different samples in the front end of this and rerun the process and just explore the possibilities. This is just a tiny bit of what Composer's Desktop Project offers you. I hope you agree with me that it's worth some effort. It's worth some exploration. The only product I've been able to compare this to during this discussion was Kima by Symbolic Sound, which is also amazing, or it looks amazing to me. Someday, after I've paid off my mortgage and my student loans, maybe I will plunk down for that, because it really does look like a very rich possibly limitless sonic toolbox. However, I also know that when I have infinite possibilities, I just get analysis paralysis. And to me, it's still tremendous, like tremendous, what you can do with texture and rhythm and wave sets and granular processing and spectral processing and morphing and formants and just, it's off the chain. It's already off the chain. So this is going to keep me happy and interested for a good long time. And also, you should look around for Trevor Wishart's 2 books. One is called Audible Design, and the other book is called On Sonic Art. And he makes the beautiful, very important argument that no music is abstract, and any sound, any kind of sound can be transformed and manipulated and put through sonic alchemy, the kind of sonic alchemy that's possible with Composer's Desktop Project, to make the music that you want to make. So I hope I've inspired you. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm not going to guarantee that I have the answers. I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to make a video to give you the answers, but I hope I've spared you some pitfalls and frustrations. To review the main points, you want to install the software exactly per the installation notes, and so that it comes out in the top level of your C drive right here. You also want to download all of the workshop materials and the learning manual, which just came out, I think, a month or 2 ago. So this is like tremendous ongoing development. You want to focus on SoundShaper. You do the tutorials that are interesting to you. Listen to the files to give you a sense of what might be more interesting or less interesting. All of the examples are numbered. So if you find a file and you say, I want to know how they made that, you can go into the tutorial and find it, and it'll all be laid out right there. So save, we saved the patch, we saved the, when you get to the end of an audio process, or at any point where you say, I want to record that, that was good, I might want to use that, I want to save that, use the Spectral PVOC Convert Synthesize process to make it a file that you can save, and then save it. And now, this is also important. Let's say you say, okay, I recorded that, but I want to do some more stuff. You can delete. I'm going to select this cell, delete, select this cell, delete, and now I'm back to the pure analysis data out of Accumulate, and I can keep going with granulizing or texturing or restructuring my sonic file. You can also edit and mix an entire multi-track, even multi-channel piece. I think it could be 8 channels. I think it could be 16 channels. How many channels? A lot. So the possibilities are really huge. I hope you enjoy. I hope you're inspired. Whether or not you decide to pursue CDP, have a good time and follow the sound that speaks to you. Thanks. Have a great day. And again, thank you so much, Trevor Wishart, Archer Endrich, and everyone else who helped develop CDP and document it with such dazzling generosity. I can't thank you enough. All right. Have a good day.